All right, we're here today with Baker head women's and men's golf coach Karen Exon. Coach, you've had quite a busy summer, especially in the last week or two with your ultra marathon river race. Tell our fans out there, what all that entailed, and just kind of give us a breakdown of that experience for you.
Okay, when I'm not playing golf or hanging out with family and friends, the other sport that I've taken up about 10 years ago is paddle racing, and specifically double wing paddle racing. I paddle a fleet of ocean-going racing sea kayaks as well as hybrid canoes. The race that you've talked about is the Missouri River 340, sometimes called the MR 340. This year was the 10th annual race. We put in at Caw Point in Kansas City, Kansas, and paddle continuously 340 miles to St. Charles, Missouri. We're given 88 hours to do whatever we're going to do in addition to paddling to get to the finish line. We have 9 checkpoints that we have to meet in a maximum time or we're disqualified. This year I finished the race in 56 hours, and 54 minutes. It started at 7 a.m. for us on last Tuesday, a week ago Tuesday, and I pulled into St. Charles to the finish line tied with another female soloist on Thursday at 3:54 in the afternoon. During the race I napped once at 140 miles downstream for an hour and took a shower and changed clothes. And the second time in Jeff City, about 113 miles from the end of the race, I pulled in, went to my ground cruise hotel room, took a shower, changed my clothes, laid down for 90 minutes and slept, and then got back in the river and finished the race. Several of the checkpoints I just, by pre-arrangement with my ground crew, I just rolled through them and they checked me in and out. And I was provisioned by them at other points along the race course. But this year I paddled a 19.5-foot, 20.5-inch beam Kevlar racing kayak made by Ceda Company out of Chula Vista, California. I've been racing that boat off and on since 2009, and it was very seaworthy. Some of the couple of the things that I probably ought to talk about with this race, the conditions, the weather conditions were very difficult this year. To our advantage was that the river was up from all the rains this year, so we had great current, but that eliminated a number of the places where we could pull out if we needed to rest or needed to get out or what have you. Secondly, we started in enormous heat and humidity the first day. The heat index was well over 110. It eliminated a lot of the field that was less trained and prepared. That night, that can be a problem. That night, in the middle of the night, we had a major weather front come through. We had 70-mile-an-hour winds and tremendous thunder and lightning storm. Chased a number of us off the river to safety, out in the middle of nowhere. Cost all of us at least an hour or an hour and a half of safety time, if you will. Then we had two very cool nights, and then the resumption of heat the third day. So the heat, humidity, the high winds, it really took a toll. This was a race where there were 431 boats registered, only 252 finished. I finished tied for second in the women's solo division that I competed in, and I finished tied for 68th overall. Of the 4 races that I've done of this type, this particular race, even though in 2010 I did that race in 51 hours and 57 minutes, the conditions were perfect. It was a fast river, it was cool, there was little humidity, For my money, I think that this was my best MR320 because of all the difficulties that we had to somehow get past.
Well, Coach, really appreciate you, informing us about your race, and we all couldn't be more proud of you here at Baker on your accomplishment.
Thanks, Tyler. I appreciate it.